Hello everyone, welcome back. Great to have you. This is Eric, KJ4YZI, and you're watching HamRadioConcepts. Thanks for tuning back in. Today's video is about the Expert Electronics MB1 Prime 2021. And the caveat to this is GigaParts has let me borrow this for a better part of about a month and a half, and it's time to go back. I had a vacation, I was busy, I was playing with it. I made a lot of videos on this. I wasn't happy with them. There's so much stuff you can do with something like this. I just don't have enough time to make the videos. I mean, if everybody was interested and they made this huge push and said, listen, get this in Eric's hands for 6 months, I can do all the stuff that I want to do with videos. I want to do benchmarks on the CPU. I wanted to stream videos on here. I wanted to do, and I'm going to show you what I did. I was attempting to send WinLink emails directly inside the radio. I was setting up FT8 directly inside the radio. This is a very big piece of hardware and it is costly, but it's not for everybody. And the cost is definitely what it's worth, okay? To build a PC that's what's in here is at least $2,000, $2,500. Then you talk about the architecture of what's in here and what they wanted, a full-fledged SDR with a full-fledged Windows 10 computer in here. And listen, everybody needs to know this. You can put Linux on this. It will run Linux. You can put Mac OS on here. It will run Apple. The first time I made this video, I met the guys in, I think it was 2018, I think, in Dayton. I met Expert Electronics and the guys there, and this was brand new. And that video's got over 100,000 views. If you look at the comments, there's over 1,000 comments, and everybody said, man, if that thing ran Linux, that'd be golden. Well, I had intentions of putting Linux on here. I don't know much about Linux. You can get rid of Windows 10 and put Linux in here. You can get rid of Windows and put Mac OS in here. It will work. Why? Because the software that Expert Electronics makes that runs in here will run on Linux, Ubuntu, Mac OS, and Windows, including Windows 11. Somebody out there actually put Windows 11 on here. So I'm going to give you just a send it moment. We're going to wear this throwback shirt that I forgot I had because I hate these orange shirts. I'll never make them again. Thank you for everybody that bought them and sent me pictures of you wearing them. That was a poor attempt at a shirt, but this got to go back to GigaParts. And I'm going to make a video. I'm going to show you what I was playing with, what you can do with it, give you ideas, and plant the seed and let you guys go and roam and see if this is something for you. People are buying equipment that costs as much as this radio. The first thing you may say is, well, that's a lot of radio for the price I can get. To be honest with you, I would probably rather have an ICOM IC7610 or 7851. Is that better than this? I don't know. Is this better than that? I don't know. Can you do the same thing with the ICOM that you can with this? No. But everybody does their own thing with radios. Everybody wants what they want. And to be honest with you, maybe it would take a few months to me to really fall in love with this. I did fall in love with it, and I fall more in love with making the videos and showing you guys, and my interest goes like this. If it was up to me, I'd rather have a 7610 ICOM than this. Now, I'm not saying this is bad because I don't know. I just don't know why. Your comments are appreciated below. But a solid computer, a really powerful computer. I wanted to do benchmark tests. I wanted to do live streaming right on there. Guys, I could live stream a YouTube episode from this radio. Yes, I could plug the camera USB in the back. It's got the microphone. I could load up YouTube on here, put in my credentials, connect it to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and stream from YouTube on here. I wanted to do that, but don't have enough time. So without further ado, this is the Expert Electronics MB1 Prime 2021, a magnificent radio. I'm going to give you some fun facts and show you what I've learned, what I like about it, a couple things, and I want you to leave your comments below and tell me what you've thought about this from my video, and go check out other YouTube channels of people that are using this every day. And then maybe I'll recap it down the road when they have an updated version. If Expert Electronics let me get this in my hand for 6 months, I'd be able to tell you more about it. I just don't have the time. So here it is, the MB1 Prime 2021. Thanks to GigaParts for letting me borrow it. Made by Expert Electronics on HamRadioConcepts.
HamRadioConcepts is brought to you by HamRadioPrep.com. It's never been easier to learn about ham radio before you take the exam. And Ham Radio Prep makes it fun and guarantees your success. Visit HamRadioPrep.com. Use the code ERIC20 to instantly save 20% off every course you buy. Remember the name, HamRadioPrep.com.
So what is different about the original MB1 I showed you a few years ago versus this MB1 2021 Prime Edition? Well, the transmit is now improved to IMD to the third order and all new PC hardware. So a Gigabyte Industrial ITX motherboard, an Intel Core i7-9700 at 3 gigahertz, 8 cores, 8 threads, max turbo boost of 4.7 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and a Samsung 970 EVO 500 gig solid state hard drive. The original one had a mechanical. So for those who are wondering, so let's break it down for a second. What's the price tag of $6,895? Well, you can think of it this way. A lot of people are buying $3,000 computers and $3,000 radios. Okay, they want the top of the line, everything. People out there buy it. You may not be able to afford it. I can't afford it, but there's people out there that can. This can be a full-fledged, top-of-the-line gaming PC and your ham radio. You can run the HDMI out of the back to a monitor and have dual displays. So you can have the radio running here, and then all the logging software, all your DX clusters, everything can happen processing in here, outputted to a second desktop display. It can happen, okay? And at that point, you're about the price of a top-of-the-line computer, top-of-the-line radio. This is all touchscreen, and the cool thing about this is Expert Electronics has the Expert SDR2 software running in here, and it will run on the Expert SDR3. But watch this. So I have the mouse plugged in, and you know it is touchscreen. You can move frequencies like this. You know, you can click on this and go up here to go to 40 meters. Okay, a lot of filtering, a lot of different modes. A lot of stuff you can do. Let's say you want the interface, because a lot of people, when I was at the QRP event or the portable event we have once a month, I brought this down there and they said they liked this one better than if you go up here to this like this. Now you're running in the mode as you would see on Expert SDR2 software. For instance, this Sun SDR2 Pro is a 15 watt version. And then they have, I showed you the video, the Sun SDR2 DX, which is 100 watts. Basically, this is a Sun SDR2 DX with HF 6 meters and 2 meters in this radio right here. Now, let's say you don't want to have a separate computer and a separate radio, and you like knobs and buttons. So knobs and buttons can exist on the front of this with the software running inside, and the computer and the hardware of the Sun SDR2 DX. You understand? Now, if you wanted to have up to four receivers at one time, so this is one, I can go up here to receiver number 2, and I can turn it on. Now look, I have a whole, there's my receiver 1, receiver 2. I can, if I remembered how, I could have it double screen. That's windowed. Let's see. We want horizontal. There you go. Well, that's vertical, so we'll go, okay. So see, now you have this, right? Perfect for de-expeditions. 2 independent receivers like this, and then you have a sub-receiver on each one. So 40 meters, I can turn this on, you know, and I can have this, let's see, 7.1, 88. Okay, I could have a whole separate receiver here, whole separate receiver here, a whole separate waterfall. Okay, I can do it. There's setting up to do for that. We're going to turn this back off for the sake of making it easy to understand. All right. Now everything can happen with the mouse and keyboard. If you are disabled and you do everything on a computer, maybe an SDR is for you for a computer and keyboard software. Maybe you can't see the stuff on here and touch it with your fingers. You could use the mouse as I'm doing here and control everything. I'm going to switch it back here to the GUI for the MB1. Okay, so that way it's easy to see, like this. All right. So another thing, front panel display or front panel to controls, 160 to 2 meters up here. Your sample rate and your tuning can be changed. Let's go back here for a second, and we'll go up to sample rate, and we'll turn it down to 39 kilohertz, and then we're going to change this back to like that, right? So here's my passband here, whatever. And you have filtering. Filters can be set in here on the screen, all your different modes. Look, I can turn all this stuff on. Look, receive incremental tuning, transmit compression, squelch, receive and transmit equalizers, you know, noise blanker, automatic noise filtering, you know, noise blanker 1, noise blanker 2, CTCSS, stereo, split, sub-receive. Everything you could do with this is amazing. And if you're a de-expedition person or a contester, man, there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. Let me show you something else here. And it may sound like a sales pitch. No, it's not. Nobody asked me to say anything. Nobody even knew I was going to make what videos I wanted. I had an idea of making like 13 videos for this. I just don't have the time. At the same time, you have this running watch. Here's Windows, so you can browse the web if you wanted to. And imagine this is plugged into Ethernet or it's on Wi-Fi, and you could go to your logging software, have that running on your separate display. You put this over here on a dual display if I had it connected, and there you go. Now watch this. I want to show you something else here. We're going to shut the radio off and just treat it like a computer. Now watch. Here's WinLink, right? And essentially, you could take the WinLink functionality and route it in the computer with settings through the software to the sound card on the computer. Guys, WinLink and emails over HF or VHF with Vera FM or whatever can happen in this radio. Pretty cool, huh? Now watch. You could also do stuff like this. MMSS TV. So I had this going. Now I could decode slow scan TV and transmit slow scan TV right on the radio. I think that's a valuable thing to have because sometimes interfacing radios and interfacing your computer turns into a cumbersome event. Imagine being able to receive a slow scan TV image and then export it right to your logbook, which is also on this radio. I think that's a cool purpose. Have I had the time or the solid video to show you that? No, but it does exist. We're going to shut that off. You could do stuff like FT8, FT4, JS8 call. Those things can happen in here. Ham Radio Deluxe. Well, you wouldn't need Ham Radio Deluxe really because you know you can control this remotely with the Expert SDR remote software. So you don't need Ham Radio Deluxe at all. But I use Ham Radio Deluxe for Digital Master. Let's say you're listening to Rideon here. Now, if you have software in the radio, it will decode right on the screen. You could use the keyboard plugged into the front of the radio or the back of the radio, type your message, hit send, and it goes right back out the radio. So those are the things that excite me about it. Why would I want a computer and radio like this? Is to do that kind of stuff. I didn't get to really play with that much, so I can't tell you exactly a total review on that, but it does exist, you know. You go up here to virtual audio cables, okay. If you go into the, let's see, options, where's it at? We're going to go back to here. We're going to go to here, and then we're going to go to settings. So, like the virtual audio cables right here, you can set this, you know, for recording. So look at this. You can record the audio, transmit and receive while you're logging it on the computer on a separate screen, while you're transmitting here with your microphone, while you're using a digital program, while you're decoding CW with a CW skimmer. It can all exist right now on this radio. That's what I like about it. A lot of features that can happen here. IQ recording or sound card recording. A lot of stuff. So what do I think about it as a radio and receiver? Well, another video I wanted to do was listening to shortwave and recording it and showing you what it sounded like at 10 kilohertz on AM shortwave. And guys, let me tell you, it sounds amazing. In fact, I'm trying to figure out what I just did where I can't hear it. I must have turned something on. Don't know what I did. I turned something on or off. okay? But the shortwave on here was just awesome listening to that. I can't tell you anybody said anything bad about my audio. And if you go like this, and you go to, let's see, we're going to change it back now to this one, and we're going to go to mixer. So here's your mixer for receive, right? And then you also have an EQ for receiver and an EQ for transmit as well. All the stuff. You don't need any more in this day and age, a W2 IHY, or any kind of outboard, external equalizer. You don't need to use computer software for equalizer. It's all in the software that Expert SDR2 makes. And every day they want to make a better product. So being at the fact that you don't have to use somebody else's software to use this, I really like that. What don't I like about this? What would be a bad idea for something like this? Well, okay, let's say this wants to update. And let's say the Windows update down here pops up and it's saying, hey, you have an update ready. If it starts updating, no, you can't use your radio until it's done updating, just like you could with Windows 10. Is that different for Mac or Linux? Yes, because maybe they don't update like that and freeze you out. Could you get a virus? Yes. Would the virus keep you from using your radio? Yes. So all the modes here, lower side. Now here's another thing I like, okay? Check this out. If you're interested in this. Digital Radio Mondial, DRM, okay? This is a digital standard format of shortwave radio. It's built in native to this. And that's another thing. Jim said, you gotta listen to this on DRM. Shortwave in the digital form. It's not easy to get sometimes, but he said it's amazing. Never got around to locking in a station on digital and doing that, but it does happen. Again, if I ever got this video for a couple months, I would get all this done. Other modes, like, automatic digital modes are in here, and you have stuff like DSB, okay? So that would be amplitude modulation with reduced carrier. SAM, that would be synchronous amplitude modulation. And the fact that you can do 2 meters on all mode on an SDR, like the 9700 icon that I had, is amazing. Listen to some sideband 2 meter on this thing. It'll blow your mind. Adjustable filtering and stuff like that. So really, really neat stuff. A lot of accessibility on the back of this thing. This is something a lot of people like. 4 HF SO239s on the back. 2 VHF end connectors. Now, what would you do with that? Well, in the software and in this radio, you can assign different bands or different modes or different ways of transmitting and receiving to each one of these. For instance, you want to transmit on a vertical and receive on a loop. You want to transmit 20 meters on a wire, 160 meters on a wire, but 40 meters on a vertical and receive on a delta loop. You can do all that with this. And that stays with the bands per the software. So it really is customizable. And then 2 VHF. So let's say you're operating split mode. You could do, receive on 40, or what do you do? Transmit over 40, receive on 20, and have 2 different antennas. Or receive, technically, well, you couldn't do satellites with uplink and downlink UHF, but you could do VHF1 on a Yagi, VHF2 on a vertical. Let's say you want to do VHF FM, VHF sideband. And then you just switch the sideband that's on there. So you can do that. And along with, on the bottom here, 4 outputs for different PAs, to key different PAs. Now, somebody had asked me in a previous video, well, I don't have 4 PAs, but some people do, guys. You never want to have you don't want to think, well, I have 1 PA output, now I got to get an interface because I have multiple linears or amplifiers. So, you want to set 1 to 20 meters and 1 to VHF and 1 to 6 meters. You could do that, okay? And then as you switch, it's automatically assigned to key certain amplifiers that are connected to certain, antenna outputs based on what you want. USB 2.0, USB 3.0. Let's say you want to listen to music on this, guys. You want to transfer a lot of files to this. Use USB for high transfer rate, high speed. or USB 2.0 for your mouses and your webcam on here. You want to stream YouTube from this. You want to live stream your contacts that you're making on this thing. Plug a camera into here, keyboard into here, mouse into here. LAN ports, HDMI out, D port. You know, a lot of stuff here. 4 fans keep the PA and the CPU cool. GPS, PTT, a keyer, a reference in for, you know, I guess 10 megahertz reference in. Transverters, if you're using, you know, transverter to work microwave, a 2-meter transverter or a 10-meter transverter to microwave frequencies, it's right here. And you can assign that in the software. This thing is loaded with features and it's loaded with opportunity. And I like that. Would I use all of this? Probably not. Maybe you wouldn't either. Does it mean that the price is worth it? Possibly, because by the time you figure out what's going on right here, that's a lot of research and development. That's a lot of architecture that they've built on that designed this radio that makes it worth the price. I don't see you needing any other external interface ever again if you had something like this. Would I use this stuff? Probably not. So that's why I'm saying it's there, but my interest in it, unless I had it for a few months, kind of tapered off, because that's going to make me want to go buy a whole bunch of antennas to do this. Now, a lot of my viewers, 127,000 viewers, have all this stuff ready to plug into here, and that may be for you. For me, it's not, okay? But definitely awesome that they gave you this opportunity to do all this kind of stuff. So that about wraps it up with the MB1 here. Just an overview will give you some pluses and minuses. This is going back today, and I want to show you one more thing about SDR technology. We're going to recap this SDR2 Pro again. I want to show you something about notch filtering and how you can really knock out every birdie and signal on that waterfall except what you want to hear. That's what's interesting about SDR technology. We'll show you that. In the meantime, leave your comments below about this MB1 and what you think about the aspects that I touched on. And thank you for GigaParts for giving me the opportunity to borrow something like this and play with it for the better part of a month and make contacts and say that I did. I don't think I'm ever going to have one, but I would if I could. But it's definitely a lot of radio. So 7.3, more videos are on the way. KJ4YZI.